y'all? Farmer Dre back at another beautiful, beautiful day here on the farm. It actually got down to like 38 degrees here on the farm this morning, but it didn't get cold in here or outside, and everything is mucho bueno, perfect. And we're out here with Moses in the high tunnel this morning. But today I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you guys about some of the steps we do weekly in the high tunnel with the tomatoes. And of course, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the tomatoes and how nicely they've been growing. So first thing is first, and I do this multiple times a week, I mean now pretty much every day, is fertilizer. And whenever I first started, I was doing a half dosage of fertilizer whenever the plants are small every day. And I was putting 4 ounces of calcium nitrate, 4 ounces of the tomato blend, tomato formula master blend 41838, and 2 ounces of magnesium sulfate. But now the tomatoes are getting a lot bigger, a lot taller, and they're putting on a lot of fruit. I'm putting on a full dosage, so I'm putting 8 ounces of calcium nitrate and 8 ounces of the master blend and 4 ounces of magnesium sulfate. And as you can see here, it's working nicely. So that's a must here on the farm. And that's the first thing I do first thing in the morning is get the fertilizer going. Even though I'm not working the high tunnel during the day, I'm still doing the fertilizers. So that is the first thing I do every single day with the tomatoes. So now, more on a weekly basis, we try to come in here, and I'm gonna go show you guys what Moses is doing that I was helping him. I'm getting black fingers here. Is for these indeterminates, for these big Dinas here, we are suckering them and training them to a single stem. I'm gonna explain how we do that. And the reason you wanna do that is you want all the power and energy to go to the plant itself, to the fruit, and not to grow out a bushy plant like we are with those red deuce. And like I mentioned, I am trying a couple of those red deuce to see how I like it, to see how they work on a single stem. But like always, you know, I get excited to plant these indeterminates, and then I realize how much time and energy they do take. So now I'm still debating, man, was it worth planting these? But we're gonna go ahead and continue working here and keep these going since I already have them in the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of these tomatoes and exactly what Moses is doing. So this is on the first plant here, this first cluster of tomatoes. I don't know, these things are big. I mean, big old massive tomatoes here. So look at that, nice, beautiful. And then of course we got the second cluster going, and the plant is doing that as well. So most of the tomato plants have a lot of fruit on them. Just look at this beautiful thing right here. Absolutely beautiful, growing nicely. A lot of flowers on these things, and the plants are just looking good. Look at some of these plants, they're already waist high. I'm 6'4", and I sit pretty tall up here. So these plants are 3.5, 4 foot tall already, and they've been enjoying it, they've been liking it, and you know, they're living a perfect life here in the high tunnel, enjoying every single moment of it. So that's the beauty of growing high tunnel tomatoes. The plants are just loving it, enjoying it, and of course we're gonna start harvesting fruit here pretty quick. So this is what happens whenever you don't take care of your tomato plants. We haven't been in here for about 2 weeks or so, and some of these plants look a little neglected, but we'll get them trained perfectly right and to the single stem. And this is one of the reasons I don't like doing the indeterminates, is it takes too much time and energy out of my week, out of my day to come prune these. And you know, for the past 2 years I didn't grow any indeterminates, and I was like, you know what, let me try a couple 2-3 rows this year. And more as the busier I get, the less time I have to come through here and prune and stake these. So you know, I'm still back and forth the idea of growing them. I guess it just comes down to production and how much money these things are gonna make me. All right, so just got that fertilizer turned off here. We're gonna try to get these 3 rows done today. Take us a couple more minutes here, we'll be done. But yeah, training them and tying these up. You know, on these determinants, on the red deuce and the Carolina golds, it's kind of like a cookie cutter. You know, you do them all the same, and it's more like a hands-off kind of deal, even though I'm still in here maintaining and watching them for disease and insects and whatnot. But it doesn't require as much time and energy to come through and prune them. Like I said earlier, it depends on how much these produce me. If I really like the production and I really like how they turn out, then, you know, it's a yes for me in the future. But for now, you know, like I said, just keeping these plants going and making sure that they are happy and going to produce me the tomatoes and the crop that I desire. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what Moses is doing right here. Pretty much taking the plants off the ground here and making them stand up here. So these plants here, you know, they're still growing softly. So the problem is, in this high tunnel, The ground in the high tunnel is just a tad bit lower. I got to add some more soil in here than the outside. So whenever it rains, most of that water comes in from the outside, and then it kind of leaches the soil, a little bit of the fertilizer. These plants aren't as vigorous and as big and don't have as much fruit as the rest of them. But, you know, that's the only deal with this side of the high tunnel here. We've been getting a lot of rain here, you know, 2, 3, 4 inches at a time. And for every single inch of water you get, or inch of rain, I forget how many thousands of gallons accumulate from the top and run out the side. It's some ridiculous 2,000 or 3,000 gallons of water for every inch of rain you get. So that's a lot of water falling on the sides there. All right, so what we are doing here is we are just training them, and I just twist the wire around the plant. It doesn't do it any harm. So what we do is we twist the wire up the plants and then we take off these suckers here. So the suckers are in the armpit of the plant. So you have the main the branch leaf here and the main stem. The main stem is going to have your tomatoes on it. So a main stem coming up, and what we do, we go ahead and pinch these off, because these things can grow a big massive plant and take a lot of your energy and time away from these tomatoes from developing. So if you let a plant with too many suckers on it, then it just doesn't put on a lot of fruit and just grows a lot of foliage. So that's what we're doing every week here, is coming through here, training them up to the single stem, and then taking off those suckers. Alrighty, so we got this row done, and we got to go mow some stuff at the strawberries, but we got to go ahead and get this going. But on these rest of the plants are pretty simple and easy. So what you come here to do, you look at the plant, and all these suckers, just kind of pull them off there, figure out which ones are which, and that's it. So not too bad, not too bad. And then if you see any weeds on the bottom, pull them out. For example, this right here, this is the sucker right here, so you're going to go ahead and pull that off. And the best time to pull off suckers is early morning, because the plant has stored up all its carbohydrates and everything inside the plants, and then they are a lot more tougher, if that's the way to say it. In the afternoons, they get really like soft, and they get all due to the heat and stuff. But in the mornings, they're really strong and they're really sturdy. So if you do snap them off, they snap off really easy. If you come in the afternoon and do it, then they just kind of just like the tomato plants are really soft, and you have to cut them, and it's just a bigger mess. So if you just come in the mornings, snip them off, you should be good to go. Alrighty, so it is the next morning. I got busy with Moses yesterday, and I left my camera here on this thing, and I forgot to film anything. So we were busy yesterday. I had a couple guys out here working, and whenever they're out there working, I'm busy, keeping busy with them. But anyways, I'm out here, I'm fertilizing again, doing that right there. But another step, or another thing that we do weekly here in the high tunnel, and this is more for the determinate tomato plants, is we come through once a week and train the plants, the tomato plants, the bush tomato plants here, to grow in between the strings here. So let me show you what. So right here, you see these are not allowed to be outside the string. So all we do, we just take the string and just push it back, just like that. Just push all these through there, just like that. Not too bad. It's much easier to do this than to come through and try to weed these all. I gotta send a couple of guys through here pretty soon and finish this thing up. But yeah, this is one of the other steps we do here. Then one of the biggest things, I come through here, and I do this pretty much every day. It's not just on a weekly basis. I come through here and just walk around and inspect the plants, seeing if there's any issue with insects or any bug issue or anything like that, just because that's the most important. Is if you monitor from beforehand, then you will not have a problem down in the future if you catch it early. And a lot of things, you know, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And especially with the high crop like tomatoes, or high value crop like tomatoes, it is so true. If you see insect pressure, let's see like aphids or thrips or whiteflies, if you catch them early on, then it's much more easier to manage them whenever the populations are very small, rather than whenever the populations are greater and then you have, you know, infestation like crazy. It's a lot harder to manage them, because then you got to use more chemical. You got to you know, spend more time and energy trying to kill them off than just coming through here. And if you do see a little bit of issue, look around, see if there's on a certain plant, and if you look at the neighboring plant and it's not next to it, then you might just want to come through and just spot spray that particular plant and not have to spray the entire tunnel. So this is just part of the IPM, or integrated pest management. It's just kind of staying out here and monitoring and seeing what's going on exactly with the tomatoes and the plant itself. So yeah, it's just one of those things that if you stay on top of things and if you know how to manage them, it makes your life easier long term than trying to you know, just kind of neglect it, then come back and just spray weekly for no good reason. And a lot of times these chemicals that we do spray, you know, they are very, very, very expensive. So the less I have to use, the happier I am. Like I've said in other videos, it's kind of like going to the doctors. You don't go to the doctor whenever you're feeling healthy and, you know, you have nothing wrong with you. Kind of like me, I haven't been to the doctor in a very, very long time. Just because I'm feeling good, I'm not sick, or I don't think I'm sick. And if I am, well, I'm just gonna tough it out, you know. So but same thing with these tomatoes, you know, if there's not a problem, I am not gonna do anything. If the plants are looking very healthy and they're looking really nice, then we don't touch them. But then if there is a problem, we try to work things out and try to figure out a way how to get out of that problem so that the plants and the tomatoes look very, very healthy. So, you know, that's the thing. You know, it's just a lot of misconceptions out there that us farmers are out here to spray thousands of chemicals because we feel like it. Well, it's not quite like that. But anyways, you know, watching out for insects and making sure your plants are healthy is very critical. Another big thing that I enjoy come out here is I like seeing the progress every day. I know it's a slow progress. I mean, it's you know, the plants start off small and it takes, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks until you start harvesting anything. But just the progression from when you started to where you finish is just, it's satisfying to me. So that's why I like coming out here. You know, on a daily basis, it's kind of you know, you don't see much, you know. And that's the thing, is like, oh man, are these tomato plants even growing? But you know, if you take a picture once a week, these things grow quite a bit. And another thing I like to keep track of is, you know, the biggest tomatoes and how they're looking, and all the other clusters of tomatoes and all the flowering, you know, everything that's growing nicely. And look how many flowers we have open on these. So we have the first bottom cluster tomatoes here that are big, fat, and, you know, getting ready to start harvesting. And then we have a bunch of medium-sized tomatoes up here, and then of course these ones up top here are just now flowering. So it's gonna be nice, beautiful harvest in here. Look at this plant right here. I'm training, this is a red deuce on a single stem, and I'm training it to a single stem. But look at these tomatoes as well. So just absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So a lot of open flumes, a lot of nice sized fruit, and a lot of great stuff happening. So that's kind of it for today. Like I said, this is just some of the stuff we do on a weekly basis to manage these tomatoes and making sure that they're happy and growing. And I'm trying to create the best environment and, you know, everything for them so they can make me happy whenever we start harvesting and start selling these tomatoes. So, you know, that's, other people do it differently. This is how we do it here on our farm. So that's just part of it. Everybody, you know, has their own ideas, does things their own way. And if you have your own farm, you got the right to do that. So that's the beautiful thing about doing your own thing is, you know, if I want to do something today, I could do it. If not, we're just waiting until tomorrow. But anyways, this is gonna be pretty much it for today. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day, and we will see you next time.